The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit delivered a very welcome victory. Although it may be temporary, it's nonetheless a welcome victory. It pertains to an Oregon mother who has been excluded from adopting simply because she refused to play along with her state's gender games. And in the ruling, the court gave Oregon mother Jessica Bates the go-ahead to begin the process of adoption from foster care while her lawsuit against state officials continues. And so she is going to be able to do so without agreeing to take children to things like pride parades or using incorrect pronouns, which the left, of course, always refers to as preferred pronouns. But what does this message and this court ruling send to the state of Oregon and beyond? Well, with me now to discuss this is Mallory Sleight. She's legal counsel on the parental rights team at Alliance Defending Freedom, which is representing this Oregon mother. Mallory, welcome to Washington Watch. It's an honor to have you.
It's so wonderful to be here.
So first of all, tell us about Jessica, about her story, and what actually led her to this lawsuit against her state.
It's honestly a really miraculous and beautiful story. And it unfortunately has a tragic beginning. Jessica was married with 5 children, and her husband was tragically killed in 2017. She was left as a widow, raising 5 kids on her own. And yet, through that, she felt very clearly called and led by God to start the process to adopt, and felt like she was told that the Bible says to care for orphans. And even though she was a widow, she still needed to care for orphans. So she started the process to adopt and got through the entire process. And at the very end, the state of Oregon said, you are not fit to parent and fit to adopt unless you sign a form agreeing ahead of time that you will affirm and support any child's hypothetical future gender identity that they may adopt. When Jessica said that this violated her conscience and her religious beliefs, the state said that makes you an unfit parent. And thankfully, Jessica came to us and we sued the state of Oregon.
Wow. And so the decision yesterday, this is a big deal. Tell us about that.
It really is a big deal. This is one of the first opinions from the circuit court directly on this issue. And unfortunately, we've been seeing this across the country in so many different states, where states are excluding Christians from being able to participate in foster and adoption. What the Ninth Circuit said is that adoption is not a constitutional law dead zone. It said that just because we're dealing with adoption and foster, that doesn't mean that you can categorically exclude Christians. And it doesn't mean that you can violate people's freedom of speech either by compelling their speech with pronouns, by attending pride parades, and by restricting their ability to discuss their own personal religious beliefs in their own home. These are 2 really important issues and really important rulings that we're really excited to have gotten from the Ninth Circuit, and hopefully we'll begin to see in other cases as well.
Wow. Man, that's incredible. So what the state of Oregon was doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what you just said, it sounds like what they were doing was in fact discrimination itself, was it not?
Well, what they're doing is saying that in order to adopt or foster children, you have to adopt the state of Oregon's ideological beliefs, that you have to adopt their beliefs about gender, their beliefs about gender identity, and that your religious beliefs are simply wrong. And if you hold these religious beliefs, then you are unfit to parent. And that's simply unconstitutional, as that is creating a standard that will remove a lot of Christians from the ability to adopt or foster kids.
So they're really creating an ideological litmus test and pushing a political agenda. Aren't they doing this above the welfare of the child?
Absolutely. Any child who is in foster care wants and needs and deserves a loving home, a home with parents and siblings that will care for them and love them and support them unconditionally. And that is exactly what Jessica does with her own kids and exactly what she wants to do with an adoptive child that she would love to bring into her home. These kids right now across the country are being housed in hospitals and police stations because there simply are not enough homes and families willing to enter the foster care system. We have clients across the country who are willing, who are able, and who are amazing families. And yet, departments like Oregon's are simply not allowing them to participate because of their religious beliefs.
Wow. So let's go there. You have people all across the country like that. What does the decision yesterday say, not only to the state of Oregon, but beyond? Where does this go from here?
I think it signals to other states and other courts that the tide is turning on this issue, that it's very clear that constitutional rights of freedom of speech and freedom to exercise one's religious beliefs apply within this field as well. That there is not a constitutional dead zone for just foster and adoption care where other constitutional rights don't apply. We've got other cases similar to this one in Washington state, in Vermont, and we're getting calls every single day of other families facing similar issues. And we're very hopeful that courts will start to stop these unconstitutional policies across the country.
Boy, Mallory, we join you in that hope. Perhaps the days of conservative people of faith need not apply for adoption are over or coming to an end. Real quickly, 30 seconds or so, what's next for this case? Where's it go from here?
Well, what's happened now is that we have a preliminary injunction in place. So that means that Jessica is protected while we continue to litigate this case. We will go back to the district court, and we are excited to continue pursuing this case and hopefully eventually come to a final ruling that this policy is unconstitutional in the state of Oregon and across the country.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mallory Sleight, legal counsel on the parental rights team at Alliance Defending Freedom. An honor to have you with us today, and thank you for unpacking this very important decision for us.